What up, what up, what up, what up, traders, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream. I want to do these more often, especially in the evening time. It's been a little hectic last week due to the fact of just a lot of other things of juggling. But that being said, glad we're here today. Hope everyone is doing well. I know the market has been a roller coaster ride. If you haven't already, we have a Discord link down below. We're always communicating and having fun in there, completely free, no obligations there at all. And we talk about everything that goes on from literally video games, the stock market, all kinds of different fun stuff. But so without further ado, let's go ahead and make sure that my microphone sounds okay. I've tested this about 3 or 4 times already, but you never know when you hit that live button on how the overall audio quality comes out. So if I can get a thumbs up from the folks in the chat, that would be fantastic. And then we're just going to have a little looking at some charts, discussing what some potential levels on the S&P 500 could be. We're going to be looking at the futures initially first. We're down 0.38% here, about 13 points here on the futures market. That's Brian J, thank you. Sounds good, thank you. GT, okay, great. Kelly, thank you. Thumbs up, Walter Gate, thank you guys for all coming out. Let's go ahead and get this away. So now you should be able to see my fantastic Thinkorswim client here, especially looking at the charts. So looking here on the S&P 500, it literally looks like a kangaroo market, aka that chop that we all know and love. Just a joke. We don't love chop unless you're enjoy being rattled around left and right. I think most people like a particular trend, unless you're just a complete day trader. This chop is really kind of your playing ground. So with this being said, we're seeing these really large moves that we've seen here the last couple days, especially with the election going on. Still a big question mark. So if you're not from the United States, we're having a circus show in the sense of elections, counting ballots of what ballots are not going to be counted, what ballots are coming in. And there's a couple key states that are definitely still waiting on those numbers to be fully vetted, and hopefully, I think what I'm hearing now is tomorrow afternoon to tomorrow evening, we should have a much closer understanding of what could be going on and who the next president could be, or remaining president could be his last term. So with that being said, we're not going to be political here. Looking here on the chart here, we talked about the S&P 500. Again, this is the futures market. We've seen that huge meltdown, but ever since that overall election has just kind of come and gone, we've had a enormous rally here. Like, this is a ungodly rocket ship here, and it's been such a large move higher, almost to the point of like what happened? Like, how is this able to just take off without any reason? Because I think everyone was able to breathe, and it was like, oh, that's excuse me. Since the election is still is over in theory, there's no more voting, but people are just kind of relieved that is just finally able to breathe and just get to basically take this overall big, large question mark off the checklist. So that's been definitely something I think a lot of folks have been very happy about, especially to take that risk off the table. Now, excuse me, I'll get some water here. Oh, I'm smoking too much. I don't smoke, just joking. I have really bad allergies here in Virginia, though. It's actually terrible. So with the S&P 500, we've had this huge rocket ship higher. We have the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21. Now we're hitting this key level here around the 3,500 level, which is, again, something that we talked about. We posted about this, shared this on the Discord and so forth. That's kind of the same level where we kind of had some overall resistance before, which we could potentially see this wall of resistance. That doesn't mean we're going to come crashing down and everyone has to run to their mommy and not be able to get out of their positions. This is more or less the a warning sign of like, hey, we've hit this level before. We might slow down a little bit because we've really have been a rocket ship the last couple days here. So it would be not unnormal to kind of take a little bit of a rest here. So that's basically the way we're looking at it here. It can come all the way down to that 3480, so the 3438 level, and that overall trend will still continuously be fine. First time, Anthony, first time here, and I'm here just trying to learn. Anthony, yep, no problem. If you've got any questions, just put them in the chat. Let's see here. It's been a pretty boring, but a clown show. Yes, it has. Hey, Ken, I'm so confused by the markets. I can't decide between put spreads or call spreads. I feel really left out right now because I can't decide on taking trades during elections. So during the elections time, honestly, I talked about this to my Patreon, to the Discord, and the YouTube members of like, I was just literally sitting on my hands. I wasn't taking too many positions. I'm started to deploy some more capital in the last couple days, but starting out small. Selling most of the time put spreads. I'm selling the put spreads. So I'm selling puts on nothing too crazy markets. Like some of the stuff that I was trading as was like Starbucks. Like I was basically selling some puts around the 85 level and the $80 level. Like that's not going to make me a lot of money, but I've kind of been out of the game a little bit, especially on the shorter dated stuff. I just needed to kind of get back warmed up, get in the groove, get the mojo going, that kind of thing there. So yeah, it's nothing wrong on not having the proper way of trading it. Again, the election time has been a very crazy time, and it definitely, even the more veteran traders that I talk to, they kind of just sat on the sidelines as well and just kind of just let the storm pass and then just kind of get back on the saddle and keep going. Do you normally do trade wide option spreads or narrow? It just all depends, honestly. Um, so basically, when you're trading option spreads, you especially want to be looking for, again, the wider the spread, the more capital is going to take. Of course, the more the risk, more the reward, kind of thing. Whatever. But it just whatever your capital requirement is. Again, if you're spending in stop smoking that green. you know me very well. I don't smoke. With the wider the spread, of course, the more risk you're going to take. So I can show you that example here. So let's go and just look at. Let me just pull up SPY here. So I use Tastyworks for trading my options and of course equities as well. So for example, a normal put spread would basically selling like the 25 delta. So you can, if you sell it $1 wide, you're not going to be taking too much premium. And of course, you're going to be only taking about $84 of capital. But if you start moving that about like $5 wide, that kind of goes it goes up pretty fast. Again, for each of these dollars, it's $100. Out of that movement, your capital is going to be taking about $431, and the overall max profit is 69. Okay, you heard it, 69. With that being the potential of, that's max profit. Most likely, it's going to be difficult to get max profit unless you hold it until like the last 30 minutes before the option expires. Most likely, most folks don't do that. They take it off at 50% or 65 or 70% profit, and they just roll it, or they just keep moving it down or up, depending on what your strategy requires. But you can definitely see if you just do 3 wide, of course, that's going to be a total of $300, but you're going to be collecting a premium of 44. I'm only taking a buying power that is affected. It's around $256 there. So hopefully that makes sense, and that understands that there. Excuse me. That's definitely a roller coaster ride, without a doubt. We definitely need some corkscrews. Yes, we need some corkscrews, some roundabouts, all kinds of dips and rallies, things that has definitely been a very crazy ride, without a doubt. So I kind of wanted to look at some stocks here. So I have some coming out. Let me see here. You're gonna see all my crazy charts here. Oh, where the heck did that go? I don't really have too much of a plan tonight. We're just gonna be kind of perusing here. Let's do this scan. Move this over. Wow. Is this this is that X. Anyone trading this one? Whew. This thing has been a rocket ship. That's the Chinese. Do you normally trade spreads with 5 days expiration, which is Tastyworks method, or do you do weekly? So I do more of the 45 to 60 day period, honestly. Yeah, because weeklies, there's a lot of things that can happen in a week, and theta decay is really aggressive during that time frame. So just be mindful of that. It's a little bit more risk, so maybe move the deltas down a little bit. Charlie says, when you reach max profit on a spread, when it hits your one, you sell. So most of the times, max profit, I only hold for like the certain exchanges. 90% of the time, or 99.9% of the time, I normally just take profit, depending on if it's like 20, 21 days out at 50%, and I can just roll it and re-enter the position at a higher strike price. Or I will do something of just maybe holding it to maybe 75% of max profit. So let's look at here. Alibaba's one that's kind of been coming up on my scans quite a bit. We're seeing a lot of support kind of come in around that 285 level, even with the quarter down, and then the overall Ant IPO not really being able to go anywhere, and just has really just kind of failed on multiple levels. But like, whew, that was nasty downturn. Even with a fairly good quarter reported, we start seeing some little bit negative activity. So if you're in this one, I would keep it on a very short leash, because if it starts breaking below that 285 level, because you have seen the 5 and 8 already cross to the 21, this can definitely bleed lower to those levels, really looking for around 280 to 277 and below. So be very mindful on that, especially one, because those moving averages are kind of falling out of whack, and showing some potential signs of not as the world's amount of greatest strength. No, I never heard an explanation at all on why Ant was basically nixed a couple days before it was supposed to go live. And what are your thoughts on Datadog? Let's look at Datadog. I haven't looked at them for a couple days, so let's see what's going on over there. So let's see here. Drink some water. It doesn't seem pretty weird, because you're talking about China there, so that just doesn't mean weird. So it's basically the same when you kind of compare China and Russia. Like you see those memes of like a normal day in Russia. That's a normal time in China, of just being able to shut down an IPO without giving any reason. Because what are you going to sue a communist party? You can't do that. So you want to do a straddle, you said, or a strangle? Oh, you want to do a strangle. So okay. Strangle is going to be a little bit more difficult. So with earnings, you have to be very careful, because the IV on both of those calls and puts are going to be elevated because of run up into earnings. So you have to be mindful of that. Looking for that movement again. With a strangle, I'm pretty sure you're aware of. You're looking for a large up move or down move. If you're selling it, basically somewhat of an iron condor, you're going to just be collecting that premium. But it sounds like you're just going to be playing for a large move up or down. So when do they report? They report on the 10th. So it's going to be next week. Do they even have weekly options? They do. Okay. So the 10th, so that's looking at the 13th expiring. So they're looking for a move about $13.50. This has definitely been a very crazy ride for them with this large move. currently at 101. So a $13 move from today is basically going to be looking to kind of around that previous move here, around 115-ish level. So definitely looking for, oh, you're selling. Okay. So you're just kind of collecting that premium. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you're going to be selling very high delta or low deltas, potentially even to like the, let me see here on the charts. Again, I wouldn't do this on the 13th because it's going to be a little bit difficult. Again, I'm not the largest fan of weekly options because, again, you can see there's not that much volume on open interest, but watch. Once you kind of flip over to the monthlies, you see a lot more open interest, especially around the $5 wide prices. So this is definitely times where you're going to have a little bit more liquidity in. This is very strange, actually. I'm seeing a astronomical amount of open interest on the call side and next to nothing on the put side. That seems weird, actually. So this is like heavily skewed to the call side. This is weird. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, probably most people are going to be selling like the 120 or even lower or higher, and then probably something around the 90, or actually much lower to around that 90 to $85 level. Jake, how you doing? Do Workhorse, please. Do you think that Joe Biden would push the contract faster due to EV views? I don't know what Joe Biden would do. I really don't care what he was going to do, but we can look at Workhorse. Of course, Workhorse has had a glorious run higher and then a huge stumble. They tripped over something, but it's just definitely been a very large downward move. But it's kind of come down to resistance here. We're looking kind of hitting around that 16, 15, 50 level, kind of showing that overall support there kind of coming in here and kind of getting that little bit of a bounce. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages starting to curl sideways, so we're not seeing that bleed continuously going lower. That being said, we're still below the 21 EMA, and some of the longer dated moving averages still kind of pointing downward motion. We're still looking for this kind of potentially start peeling off here and start going higher or even leveling off here. What we would like to see is potentially really build a strong base around that $17 price target here. Even coming up all the way to around that 19 would be nothing out of the ordinary. But looking at this move higher, we would really need to see the 5 and 8 curl up and break through the 21 and get any kind of positive movement above that $19 to $20 level. So this is going to be a pretty key level there to kind of see if we're able to get through that. But more or less, the story here, we really need to see Workhorse build that strong base and get that foundation in order before really can see anything kind of move up higher. So hopefully that was helpful for you there. My average cost is 26 at 7.5 shares and waiting for the breakout. 26. Okay, so you bought pretty much at this little level up here. I'm not sure when it's going to hit 26 because, again, I can't predict anything. But it's taken on a lot of damage and it needs some work to kind of rebuild. Oh, you shorted Hertz. Nice. We have not done NIO as all-time high. This has been a high target. Do you think it can go to the next level? Thanks. Yep. So, yes, NIO has been the talk of the town. It's even trading higher. It's not higher after hours yet, but it's still only those high levels. And is just doing a super phenomenal job. You kind of see some of the Fibonacci retracements that I have here. This is definitely something. This is definitely like crazy amount of looking for that level. I didn't know we're going to hit $42.20 anytime soon. I clearly see that we've hit that. level on the Fibonacci retracement. This is on the short-term Fibonacci's, and we're just flying higher here. Like this is definitely a scenario where these have just literally just been flying off the rails, and this rocket ship is just continue to fly higher. Again, it has earnings coming out, I think next week, right? Yeah, the 17th. So about a little bit over 2 weeks from a week and a half ish time frame. But that's definitely a very crazy move here. A little skeptical, or a little bit of a sus, as the folks say. Really kind of seeing that really fly so high. We're getting a lot of overbought here on the RSI and on the volume zone oscillator. And if we flip to the weekly side, we are definitely getting overbought and very high ranges here. But that being said, Tesla has had this same kind of form here. So I think people are kind of relating this to the Tesla stock, that if you remember, that really took off towards the end of last year into this year, where it just went gangbusters, lack of better words. It's definitely something it's gone up super large. With this, if this trend continues, which again, anything can happen. The next target is around $52.54. To the downside, we're looking for some really short-term support coming in around the 5, so around $36.40. If you're going to be really waiting for a pullback or any kind of potential chance of buying in a larger position, you're going to be kind of waiting for a while, potentially to around the 21 EMA, which is around $30, which again, it has had these moves before, going up and down. It's just kind of been in this whole huge rotation mode before. We've seen this previously back in like the summertime, where we had the end of May into June, where we had a run up from basically $8 all the way to 16, and then kind of just flatten out a little bit. But it never really broke through the 21 EMA, which again is that overall measure that we use for that trend. Between the yellow and the orange line is what we really use on the daily side. Is definitely going to be going in there on that upward movement and that trend, and really seeing that really kind of play out here, and really kind of again, huge move higher. A lot of I'm not going to use the word FOMO, but I think there's a lot of folks who are just like, oh my gosh, like NIO is going to be the new Apple of China, or new Tesla of China, and I got to get into it. But that will potentially slow down and maybe consolidate sometime. But again, I just don't know when. Brian, yep, we just did the NIO. I have January 37 calls. Nice. That's awesome trade. Alex, my balls itch. Okay, sorry to hear that. Scratch them. Honest, I don't know, says CBOE. I'm convinced that Kenny, I'm selling my house and going all in NIO, JK. Yeah, please be careful with that. It is the new Tesla. Take out loans and get on the thing. So I knew, like, again, this is like, I'm going to tell you the old time stories with, let's see, for example, do I have, yeah, Bitcoin right here. Well, this exchange was added after Bitcoin really had that large move higher. When you start hearing stories of people taking out credit card debt to buy Bitcoin, the top's in place pretty soon. And that's really was the case for, I had a larger position in Ethereum, honestly, in Litecoin. I had some Bitcoin, but majority of my position was in Ethereum. And I said, I got to sell. And that was still one of the best trades I've ever did. Getting out and avoiding that huge down crash, and that has happened within Bitcoin. But of course, over the last coming years, especially this year, we've seen a huge kind of nice little continuous, somewhat of a rally with Bitcoin, and really breaking through that 1470 level, 700 level that we've wanted to see for a while. With this trend to continue, we're going to be looking for around 17,000 there as well. You're still salty that NIO is at $3, but oh my gosh, really? You'll never learn. Just don't touch DraftKings. That's your lesson right there as well. But yeah, between that and NIO has definitely been a very fun adventure without a doubt. We can look at Tesla. What has Tesla been up to? Of course, my keyboard. You already bought D King? Okay. I didn't know you would. Nice. You, Brian, have been holding for years. You're up 8%. Nice. Good. Fantastic. So with Tesla, this has definitely been a roller coaster for Tesla, with this really kind of backwards action, this roller coaster kangaroo market what we've been seeing here, kind of giving us some head fakes, people being disappointed, not be people meeting his expectation, and then of course we had that overall kind of sell off in the tech industry and the overall markets, which kind of really hasn't helped Tesla's overall tail. Because again, I think a lot of folks are still waiting for Tesla to kind of get to 500. Again, it's going to be a pretty large catalyst to get up there. We are seeing that really kind of, I normally don't like to draw trend lines, but we can on this one. We can make these make-believe trend lines. We can call this a wedge pattern, an ascending wedge, or whatever you want to call it on this little fairy tale ride here, kind of coming into play here. This overall wedge that we're coming into, of course, you're going to see this kind of bouncing around. So basically the way this chart pattern plays out is you're just kind of seeing this tighter and tighter constriction of range within a particular stock. And then of course you get normally a breakout to the upside. Of course, that's when it breaks this little red line and goes to the higher level. Or if it wants to go lower, it breaks the lower part of the trend line and it goes lower. So pretty simple, pretty basic kindergarten drawing there to kind of give the example of what a wedge is, basically, or a triangle, whatever people call it. But Tesla, I still love it. Again, I'm a full disclosure. I'm a long-term investor in Tesla, and I've been there for quite some time. But this is definitely a key level here around that 435, even up to that 463 has definitely been some very key levels to kind of see how Tesla has been playing out. Again, I don't think Tesla's really going anywhere. I think Tesla's still the overall leader in EV markets. I think they have some of the better technology, but there are some people overall catching up. So definitely going to be an interesting one to watch, and would love to see it back up to $500. Expression SS. I had 2235 calls for NIL 1116, sold them. The price was 36. LOL. I was scared AF. I know the feeling. I've sold a lot of things way too early before things really kind of go up higher. Thoughts on SQ? Great earnings. Okay, let's see. Did they release earnings on the wrong time again, or leaked, or whatever? What happened? That was what happened last quarter, if I recall. So SQ Square. Nice. Okay, 34 cents on that. I sort of move higher. Let me update this fib here real fast. It's been a little bit since I've watched this. Yeah, so it's kind of from, okay, didn't click at the right space. There we go. All right, look at that. You can't make this up. It literally hit that 618 around $177. And now it's hitting that key level of that 618 on the Fibonacci retracement, AK signaling a potential, doesn't mean it's going to come down, crash, or burn, but this is a signaling of a potential overall resistance to the upside. What we are seeing is a nice switch with the overall momentum, because we're seeing the shorter dated moving averages, which is the purple and white line, which is the 5 and 8 moving average, trying to break up above the 21. So this trend, if it wants to continue to go higher, it can come all the way down to around like 170, even down to where the 5 and 8 kind of meet, and that trend will still be going fairly strong. So we can see that potentially pop or even kind of trade sideways around the 177 to kind of build up the momentum and really carry it higher to around that 184 level, which will be the next nearsighted target to the upside. If that doesn't hold, we're going to be looking for around 172 to even 167 to the downside there, my friend. Honestly, can you do CBOE, Board of Exchange, and CME? I like them long term. Do those trade like that? Yeah, you could trade these those as well, but again, I believe if I'm right, okay, yeah. This kind of been under a lot of pressure. So if you're going to be investing this long term, we can switch to a weekly chart. As you can see here, it's been under a lot of pressure. And you're seeing that the 5 and 8 are very aggressively still pointing to the ground, aka really not showing much of resistance here. Potentially looking for a level here around 84-ish level, plus or minus $2 or $3 to kind of hold here. To kind of create potentially some kind of bottom, stop the bleeding, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, I'm getting, my allergies are just really just kind of kicked in right now. So with that being said, we're still going to be looking for some potential levels there. But what we can do here is a Fibonacci extension. So the swing high to the swing, let's do swing low here. Oh, click, thank you. To the swing high here, which is the previous high. We're looking for that level around 82. If this doesn't hold, we're going to be looking for a level around 74 to the downside. But be very careful again. That has been somewhat of a downward trending longer term market here. Of course, you saw it pretty much rally here into 17, into 18, but it's kind of been very choppy ever since then. So be honest, honestly yourself there, honest to see how that goes out there. I agree. I think Square is going to be strong going forward, but it's got to prove itself because it has taken on a lot of damage in the past couple of weeks. Charlie says like TLT. Yeah, we can look at TLT. Of course, that is the overall bond index where we basically usually trades in tandem of the opposite or the inverse of the overall market. And this one has just been kind of just in chop mode. Had a huge move higher into, of course, the pandemic and everything, because again, if equities are going lower, investors need to gain some kind of money, so they add into the bond market, blah, 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 blah. But we're seeing some very strong support coming in around 160 here. We've seen multiple bottoms here, basically around that 155, 156 level, and kind of really showing some really strong support there. That being said, we can have that run up higher to around 164 and potentially kind of peter off here and kind of lose some steam. That being said, those are going to be the levels I'm going to be looking at. I don't know where the market could be going, but I know if it does get there, I want to be doing this versus that. So if it does want to go higher, looking for that move to potentially hit that overall wall resistance around 164.29. What are my thoughts on ZM and Nvidia? So ZM, of course, Zoom, of course, is one of the largest stocks that have ever made a huge recovery here as well. This continues going higher. On its last crazy earnings, literally just made a monstrous move of a huge deviation move here, but now kind of gave it a little bit back but it was still continuously holding to the upside. Not until the last couple days or even like a week ago, it had some aggressive downward move again. Of course, a complete association to the overall market sell-off and just the fear of the market continue going down and people just not understanding what's going on here. We did see that 5 and 8 cross to the 21, but we did see some support coming in around that 450, also where the 50-day SMA line on the daily sign, and we've seen that really strong bounce. Kind of similar to Square. It hasn't had earnings yet, but Square has had earnings. So this is definitely could be an earnings run, which is kind of one of my favorite cups of tea or coffee, depending on how you swing that day, to potentially get a run up here. So what our earnings run means is potentially a stock that has kind of been beaten down, but it could have a large move higher because again, it's building up that FOMO train. It's building up that steam train of people of like wanting to get into the stock or the options before earnings or whatever reason. It kind of builds that excitement into earnings. And usually when the earnings run up, you want to get out the day of earnings report or the day before. It depends if it reports in the morning. With that, the 5 and 8 are looking to cross to the 21. So the next level we're going to be looking at is around the 516 to 520 level to be some next potential overall targets and resistance to the upside. If that really doesn't really slow down Zoom, we're going to be really looking for around those levels around $563 to the upside there. So definitely a super strong move. And talk about super strong moves, let's go ahead and just switch over to Nvidia. That has, of course, been another one that's had a phenomenal move. A lot of the semiconductors have just been really exploding and going into orbit and going basically supersonic. And really kind of going higher here. Of course, we have the all-time high around 590 for Nvidia. We're getting fairly close to that. With again that move of the 5 and 8 have already crossed to the 21, kind of hitting some resistance here around 562, with the overall target still being at 588. But with this overall trend, and it's again similar to Zoom, having that earnings run kind of play into the cards here, we're going to be looking at some targets around 620. I know that seems pretty insane, but a lot of risk, I won't say is off the table, but there's a lot of money that's been on the sidelines and people want to be putting capital to work. Of course, Nvidia has been one of the #1 stocks and the leader in the semiconductor space. So a lot of folks have their eyes on that. Of course, that and AMD. So yeah. Drink some more water. So hopefully that was helpful for you there. Max says I've been holding nets since $36.43. $36 to $43? What? I don't understand what that means. You bought it at 36 and sold it at 43? Or you bought it at 36 and then you bought it at 43 again? Ironman, can you please take a look at Amazon? Yes, we can. Let's take an Amazon. With Amazon, kind of similar to that overall chop that we've been seeing here, kind of that swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low again. With that movement, we are seeing that 5 and 8 trying to cross to the 21. We kind of really didn't really care about that $32.80 level, but still looking for that movement higher. With the next overall short-term target going to be around 3,390. I know that's just right a little bit around the corner. Of course, with the longer dated target, if this trend and chop can kind of break, we're going to be looking for around that 3,500 and really look for around that $3,700 price target to continue that upward momentum in Amazon. Because again, if you're looking here on the weekly side, sorry, this isn't the weekly, this is a monthly. Let's go here. This is just, again, a complete crazy move. I just noticed that we have a squeeze setting up, so this is could be a phenomenal move within Amazon. Again, a lot of people have been talking about Amazon 4,000. I'm one of those folks that definitely can think Amazon can go to 4,000. So 4,000 is not really too far out of the picture because again, that's only the 1618 here. So if this trend can hold, really kind of not breaking below that 3,000 level, which we've seen multiple times being tested. You can see it like here, right there, and of course with this wick just this week as well has kind of came down to that level, but now we're seeing that potentially really strong base here on the 21 EMA, and if that can really hold and this trend can continue, that $4,000 level is something that is somewhat very much in reach. So definitely something to be very interesting on there for Amazon. Max is like, no, I bought in that range, still holding. Okay, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Good, 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 good. Oh, had earnings today? Nice. Very nice. Wanted to look. The one thing I'm not very too familiar is um, looking for this solar stocks. Like this is something I've really, 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 really missed. What up, Christopher? Can we do some analysis on RVLV? Yeah. So initially, it looks like the earnings are coming up here soon. So on soon, it's going to be looking for the 11/11. So basically, sometime next week. With this one, we're seeing a lot of strong support around that 1750 to 1775 level. Has been very strong to the downside, but with the last earnings, it looks like it really just kind of took off, but then kind of gave a lot of it back. I'm not too familiar with the company does. I think this is like that. It's like an online realtor, right, for products or something. With this movement here, we are trying to see that chop here. It's really trying to break out here. This is definitely looking for something. If it break above that 19, and the earnings are good, or great, really, that $22.50 level is definitely something that could be in the short-handed side B up to the upside. Does it have weekly options? It's probably smart. It does have weekly options. So the move for next week is basically saying $2.87. Let's just call it $3 because we're all friends here. That kind of puts it up to around that $22.50 level to the market makers upward side. To the downward side, $3 is going to be looking for around that 16 below-ish price range as well. This is definitely something, an insane amount of move here. Again, with earnings on the horizon, it's very difficult to be trading this, or potentially a little bit easier to potentially building an investment due to the fact of maybe just buying a very small share of it that you initially want to put in and just kind of going from there. Next one is you want to do COTY. Yeah, this one it kind of falls into, I won't say a penny stock for me, but this thing has just been, this looks like a very much of a downward trending market, unless, again, I'm not sure what this company does, but you can just literally look on the chart here, and it's just going down. Unless you're short it, I think that would be a great opportunity because it's kind of hitting that 50-day here again, right at that level here. We've seen that kind of bounce higher and then kind of sells off. But this one has earnings as well. It looks like it's coming out the 6th, which is tomorrow morning, probably. Yep. So again, a little bit messed up there. Want to be able to get into that, see how that reacts. Potentially, if that can break above that 340 to 350 level, be very mindful because we have seen that movement get above the 50-day a couple times, but it has given it right back for whatever reason. This thing has some negative mojo and just kind of been kind of cursed and just continued to grind lower there. Other than online realtor makeup. Okay. Okay. I've heard of before. Charlie says, thank you, GLD. Yeah, GLD has been especially with the gold miners and gold juniors, has seen some really fun activity just these last couple days, especially coming in today because you had KL, Barrick Gold really report, and of course they're doing gangbusters. With this one, with the gold, again, just playing straight gold prices, with the 5 and 8 crossing to the 21, potentially looking for some overhead pressure coming around 185. Excuse me, where we've seen multiple times kind of potentially topping out here. That could be a continuous movement higher, but with this large move higher, we really need to see it continue. Again, with this large move higher, things could kind of people trying to play catch up, people maybe creating that FOMO environment of like, oh no, I missed out. I held for so many times and then it had a little dip and I got out. Like there's a lot of emotional stuff that could be going on here. And kind of see how this plays out. But definitely 185 is going to be your next overhead pressure. To the downside, it's going to be pretty obvious where that strong support is going to be coming. It's around 178 to 179 to the downside there, my friend. REGA is insane, up 10% today and then down 7.5 after hours. Trump strikes again. Hey, don't be sorry. Yeah. So holding options into earnings is I my opinion is just a little rough unless you're selling premium and you're really selling those spreads way far out, on the strike prices, and just knowing your risk when you're doing that because I've seen too many people really blow up their accounts buying calls on Tesla or whatever you name the stock, and the stock does nothing, and their calls just evaporate in front of them. I've just seen it way too much. Thoughts on Bitcoin? I think it can go to 17,000. Um, I hear purple is a new G. Purple had a huge run. Um, so when like, I can remember this very well because I was doing it working on a video, and then I had a lot of people don't know I had two hernias and I had to go to the ER. And this is the day that I had earnings, and I know that one of those the Wall Street Bets guys put like $3 million worth of calls and stock into Purple, but he held it because this is the guy that was buying it on the dip down here at $4 or $5, and this was continue to hold it. And he really just made a boatload of money. But I remember this huge downturn, but it had a nice little jump higher. But definitely a very crazy move with Purple. With Purple, with that move today, running to earnings, anything can happen. Yeah. Dow Jones, yep. We'll look at CMG. That is the old Chipotle. Love my Chipotle. With Chipotle, it had a good quarter, I believe. I don't know what I think a lot of people were upset. Or correct me if I'm wrong there, Mr. Jones. Um, it just didn't give guidance right, and people didn't like that. And then it kind of got cut in that overall whirlwind of just the overall market downturn. But again, with the overall market, we're seeing that really strong recovery coming in today as well, and just really printing higher. Again, with the 5 and 8 potentially going to be crossing over here, and just really carrying us higher to the upside. Again, with the 5 and 8, if it does cross to the 21 EMA, we're going to be looking for some key levels around 1350 to the upside. But definitely another fantastic stock. Again, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, we can look at we did Baba just showing a lot of support around 285. Really want to see on how it plays out there. Pat, yes, I did play Q. I didn't play. I own QCOM for longer term positions, but that was yes, that was a fantastic move that we saw with earnings. You can kind of see here where I have some targets here. The next overhead target is something around 150. Again, with a larger deviation move like we're seeing with QCOM, this was a fantastic move. It was completely out of the overall expected move. It's it was very large without a doubt. Again, I think the move was maybe a couple $7 or $8, but of course it moved well over 16. So again, breaking down over the deviation move. What happens is this potentially could go higher to that 150 level, but most of the times it kind of waits and kind of holds up to kind of let this moving averages to kind of catch up, and then they kind of just play catch up and then kind of play some tag in throughout there and kind of just have some fun on seeing how that the momentum can continue to carry up, down, left, or right. So yeah. I also did grab some Alibaba today, just selling some premium. Even after earnings, it had still a little bit of juice in it. Yeah. Yeah, I took 300 into four. Yeah, nice. Good trade. Nice trade. Daniel, look, CGC. Of course, my computer can type. Okay, so this is the one of those marijuana stocks. With these, I don't have too much to add to these. Um, First of all, I don't know too much about the companies. I just know majority of these are in Canada, if I'm correct, or correct me if I'm wrong. But with the swing high to swing low, we've seen multiple overhead pressures kind of come in around that 22.38 level, and looking for some overall headwinds or some resistance at that level. Um, Again, I'm not sure where this could be going. I don't know the industry very well, but what the chart is looking at is if it breaks above that 22.38, the next target's gonna be around 26.02. But if it doesn't break above the 22.38, we're gonna be looking for some basically 19.50 to even down to 17.51 to the downside there. That's definitely something that you can be very it's very tradable, but you got to be very careful because again it's tied to many different things on if it's going to be passed on certain states. I knew New Jersey was talking about something, they got it up and operational. Of course, I know Massachusetts already has it, Colorado, of course, California, the DC area has it. I think even the state that I live in, they starting to do some earlier stage of things like where they're decriminalizing a certain amount of weed if you have it on your persons when you're getting pulled over, all kinds of things. Of course, this is going to be most states going to be a very slow process, especially the a little bit more conservative states. But yeah, this is definitely could be the green wave or whatever you want to call it, potentially working on that movement that we're seeing in the industry of MJ there. Okay, a lot of people coming in. Thanks to everyone for coming by. Christopher says LM&D is trending up nice again, Ken. Yeah, is that Lemonade? I think I had that on a scan the other day and I saw that. Yeah, it is. With that nice little earnings run here. Yeah, that's a nice little move there. I like that pattern. All right, sorry, I had to blow my nose. Silly allergies here. Needed to get some allergy medicine. Okay, so with lemonade, we again, like a lot of stocks are finally trying to break out and continue going higher. We are seeing that 5 and 8 moving average coming through. Be very careful. We do have earnings coming up as well. Again, what an earnings play could be, meaning that people are basically playing the hype train or playing the potential move into earnings. So a lot of people could just be buying the 40 to 50 deltas and just kind of running it up and then selling those options or stock, depending on how they play it, out before earnings comes out, or they cut the position by 75 to 85%, and then just play it from there. So anything is possible with that, but We're seeing some resistance at $64, but then a lot of strong resistance coming at 70, because that's where we previously saw that move. With last earnings, again, it's a newer IPO, so there's a lot of mixed feelings. Again, with a lot of these earlier IPOs that have been around for just a very small period of times, you have to be very careful and do your due diligence or your DD or your research on when lockup dates come available. So lockup dates are basically something where the early stage investors, the staff, the workers, or someone who got into pre-IPO or even early stage of IPO can sell their shares. And that usually comes in around the very first 6 to 12 months, sometimes 18 months when stock goes available. So that's when you see a lot of these IPO stocks get really hit the first 6 months to 12 months out of their first coming through, because again, they're locking up. They sometimes have to go into selling more shares, all kinds of different things. So I think Lemonade's a pretty strong company, and I wanted to check them out as well to kind of see on how, if anyone does use them, I think let me know if I should try to work with them to see if there's anything worthwhile to save money on. I like their technology, and makes it seem very easy. Yeah, the gap could be filled on QCOM, but again, the thing, it's 5G play, and that everyone's just overhyped about 5G. Leo, can you look at XAYX? I'm not sure what this company is, but it looks super choppy. Looks like the last earnings report was pretty good. 5G does everything. 5G creates viruses. 5G solves problem. 5G's all kinds of things. Let me get my. So with this one, let me do some fib here. So it's kind of hitting that 50 percentile move from the previous swing high to low, which is a key level, but the key level before where it kind of failed at is at 154, 155. So that being said, if it can get any kind of positive movement, that next overall level of failure that could happen, or overall resistance, could be a potential shortfall here. So you're saying that you went short this, Leo? Again, I don't know if you're right. Again, you're about the 30. Yeah, so you're basically saying that it's not going to go higher above 145 in the near term, and potentially be going back down to 135. That's basically what you're saying, or even lower. But that being said, anything can happen. I'm not going to be saying normally shorting is not my favorite cup of tea, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. Like, that's what makes this market fantastic, where um, I'm terrible at shorting and just really doing anything with very shorter time frames. But yeah, this could be a place to short, because again, that's the 50 percentile move. For me, I would rather maybe potentially look to shorting it, let it run for a little bit. But again, you might just be a little bit earlier, because we saw some overhead resistance before at that $154 level there. So just be mindful of that, some food for thought. JFrog, yeah, I saw that one. That's a newer IPO. So between JFrog and Unity, which Unity has been woo, that's been one that I've been holding. That's been fantastic. Holy moly. This thing has just been a beautiful chart, just holding that 21 EMA and just continuously. If it bounces off that, just continue going right higher. Really breaking out today and making an all-time high. I had to take profits on it, even though it has earnings coming up. I wanted to take some shekels off the table, but this one has been a blessed of a move here on, again, having that insider knowledge of gaming stuff is definitely something. Yeah, it's a gaming software, so it's basically a lot of code, uh, or basically a lot of people use their engine for building games. So that's basically what their secret sauce is. I'm gonna do a couple more stocks, folks, and then we're gonna be calling it a night. I'm gonna take my medicine and I'm gonna go nighty night. That sounds, oh my god, that sounds terrible. My medicine, I'm gonna take my Theraflu for my nasal congestion. I'm not taking any kind of drugs or anything. Yeah, so Unity uses, I don't know, the list goes on and on who uses it, but it's pretty extensively. Like so what's happening, Christopher, with the Unity stuff? So I think they're actually working with Disney. So if you're familiar with The Mandalorian, which is my favorite show right now, that has definitely been what they use for the dome or their backdrops for a lot of their the 3D render shoots that they use with live footage in the back. Unity has helped them kind of create that environments and that extreme realism in those back scenes. Yeah, a lot of people love Unity. Len Ken says, "What do you think about Amazon going to do two MMA since Bezos sold 3 billion worth of stocks?" What does two MM mean? Bezos sold $3 billion worth of stock? Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, Unity. I didn't get it at $40 though. I got it. It was well over almost a double for me. Not a double. I was at like 30. I don't know. So 30. I think I bought majority of it basically around like the 75 to $80 level. But I had some in options. So it's been a nice little move there, without a doubt. Yeah, I missed that one too. I missed that one too. A full extent of the capital what I wanted to put in because it really just kind of took off and then it kind of fell off my radar. Royal says NIO is going up. Yeah, NIO has been a rocket ship. Yes. Ken, I got on Square on November 3rd for 190 November 6 call. What is you should be doing well, right? Because it had a pretty large move higher. So on the third, yeah, you bought the dip. You bought the day of the dip there, John Lab. Nice little move there. You basically are up a pretty nice penny here. So you bought the November 3rd. What? November, sorry, 6th. Also, they're expiring tomorrow. Oh. So your biggest fear right now is theta decay. And that you might be actually down in the position due to the fact of that theta decay kicking in. You're just up a hair because you probably bought it at 40 or 50 cents, right? And now you're seeing that price jump up here to around $3. I wouldn't be holding it too much longer. I would try to get out of it potentially as early as possible come tomorrow morning, honestly. That would just be just kind of lock on those profits because that theta decay is really going to deteriorate really fast come tomorrow morning, especially the last day of yeah, you have to be very. You bought it for 77 cents. Okay, it's a little bit on the higher side here. Okay, but again, you still made well. Like, are you looking to try to own the shares, John? You maybe potentially could. I don't know if it's going to move all the way up to 190 in that time frame, but crazier things have happened. That is a pretty large move higher if it does get to 190. Lack of better words, I think you just want to probably take some profit and kind of sell in the morning. But yeah, great trade, my friend. Nice. Yes, GTF. Yes. Palantir, whatever you want to call it, PLTR has been ripping. I think it broke over $12, right? So I own stock in that, which I bought, which I've again shared with the Patreon and YouTube members. If you're interested in joining and supporting the channel, you can learn and kind of a couple things. I kind of share some trade ideas. I kind of share some market insights, some watch lists, all kinds of things, whatever kind of pops in my head, and kind of let people know what I'm doing potentially, and then talk about again. I think it was the same day where I bought. I think it was like 150 shares of PLTR, and then I bought 100 shares of iBot of that OpenDoor SPAC. Yeah. So this one is maybe I'm kind of now just breaking even on this one because um, we're seeing this move higher here with again, this is that Chamath Papatil IPO that kind of is going to be acquiring OpenDoor, which is again is a retail company that's going to buy your house via online, and they'll give you a bid on your house there as well. With this one, has been a large move higher. Now we're seeing that same kind of movement that we've looked at so many different stocks today. We're seeing that movement come down here, really kind of finding a bottom between the 50-day or whatever moving averages. And now we're seeing that 5 and 8 trying to curl higher here and get through that 21 EMA. So that being said, this potentially could run up to around $20, going to be the next overall head of resistance. But again, this is a SPAC, so there's a lot of speculation going on there, and it's definitely been a very interesting time to be in the SPAC industry, without a doubt. Leo Leonardo, yeah, yeah, BABA or Ali blah blah we call it, has just been kind of underperforming here and kind of being a little bit of a negative Nancy. If you're long it, I'm selling a little bit more premium in it. I'm gonna give it a little bit if it doesn't perform the way I want it. I'm selling some premium around like the 177 to 181 range, but we'll see how that one plays out. Andrew says, I got Uber 35 puts and Uber earnings didn't even move as much. Why will puts be worthless since this is a dead earnings play? Uber had earnings today? Well, Uber's had a huge move higher because of that Prop 22 or Prop 23 in California, justifying on what is a contractor to a full time employee kind of worker. So that didn't go through. And of course, people who are Uber drivers are still independent contractors, choose their own hours, don't have to join unions or whatever the other regulations were. That move was already hugely baked in with earnings. I'm not a big fan of playing earnings with options, especially shorter dated stuff. If you're trying to choose a direction, you're probably better off doing premium options, meaning you're selling puts or you're selling calls that kind of really play into the hand of earnings. Because again, it's a earnings surprise, earnings move, and sometimes the moves are somewhat calculated, but it's a game that we play here, especially speculating on larger moves up or down. You're going to be rewarded if Uber did fail and you bought those 35 puts, which is again, it's a nice key level. That's the Fibonacci retracement there. I thought it did go through. I thought they're still independent contractors. Uber's still independent contractors. It didn't go through in the sense of, I don't know if, okay, I didn't know like if basically the thing was it did not go through in the sense of Ubers and Lyft. Those independent contractors are still independent contractors. They can't be a full time employee. think that's what they initially wanted to achieve and get through, I believe, the way I understood it. Yeah, the $35 put is definitely going to be pretty much worthless tomorrow with this again. Again, it looks like you only bought it for like 10 cents, depending on when you bought it, as of the close today. With the overall move being around $3, we're at $41. It's kind of out of that overall market move. It need to be a substantial, almost a 1.5 deviation move to get down to that level. Again, if the market wants to tank, who knows what can happen? Like, more or less, those options will most likely expire to be worthless. And again, with if it's a weekly options, and they're expiring tomorrow, that theta decay is going to kick in really fast. Yeah, it's definitely not going to bounce. Bought it for 5 cents. Yeah, it's most likely going to be a dead there for my friend. Joel says, if you could tell me your opinion on Rocket with where it will in the momentum, especially with it still being fairly new IPO and heading into a secondary earnings call in about 5 days. Yeah, let's look at Rocket. So that's one that kind of comes up a lot. Of course, Rocket Mortgage going to be, you saw, I'm not sure if you're following it there, my friend, but Zillow had a fantastic call today, or earnings as well. And that really just kind of went printed as well. With Rocket, again, you got to be these newer IPOs a little bit skeptical. We talked about this earlier. I don't know what time you joined. That these newer IPOs, they have lockups. You have to be very careful on when shares could be coming available or when people could be selling. This one has definitely been a very speculative play. And I think it's a really good play because a lot of folks are playing the potential movement. Of course, all the people are living in large cities. They want to move out, especially more millennials, the people who don't want to be talking to the old time loan officer in person. Rocket Mortgage just completely negate all that and just streamline the overall home buying and getting a loan and mortgage process. I haven't used them directly, but I've heard really great reviews on people having a great experience with them. So with this one, still in the early stages, still have the 5 and 8 below the 21 EMA, but with earnings to be very mindful of that. Since we've had that large move with this IPO, because again, that FOMO, everyone wants to have that next $1 million investment. That usually takes a little bit more time. So usually a little bit more wishy-washy. I don't. Does it have weekly options? It does. So when does it come out? And it said 5 days, so it would be next week on the 10th. So look at that options market. They're looking for a plus or minus move next week of about $3. So $3 plus or minus where we're currently at. So let's just call it 21 because we're all friends here. So basically $24. So that's going to be, again, look where that kind of comes in. That comes into that previously overhead resistance that we've seen before. And then to the downside, so $3 to the downside, we'll put it around 18, which is basically kind of falling into that range where those increasing parabolic SER dots are coming through. So with this one, if you're a long-term investor, maybe you can buy a small portion of the shares, buying, again, a nibble position and just playing it into earnings. And if it's great, fantastic, you're up a little bit. If it's a horrible earnings, you can buy back in if you're really having a little bit longer time view in it. That's just by my advice, my friend there. Rob says T. You're looking for AT&T. Yeah, AT&T downward trending stock. I don't even know what the news is going on here. I thought they were trying to sell like DirecTV, HBO. I don't know what they're doing over there. Excuse me. What HBO is going on over there? Like this is a lot of people just own this for the dividend. I think the dividend's safe because again, the AT&T's cell phone division is basically a cash cow. But this one has just been annihilated and is continuously on a downward trend. But we could see some bottoming kind of coming in here. Looking for some bottoming basically around that 27 to around that 2680-ish level to kind of see maybe some holding patterns kind of coming in and seeing if potentially climb higher here. Again, we're talking about AT&T here. We're not talking about like an Nio or Tesla. So this is not going to just rip higher to around $30 tomorrow unless it literally has a cure for the virus or something dramatically that they're going to be able to sell whatever. It's going to be a very difficult one to kind of hold for me. It's not really my cup of tea as well. I have NIO $40 call expiring in January 21. Good for you, my friend. That I'm sure that's up substantially for you. Pablo, can we look at SPY next? Yes, let's look at SPY. And then we'll kind of wrap it up, getting a little bit of getting some Z's, got the Sandman coming in, putting some sand in my eyeballs. So with SPY, which again we're talking about this towards the beginning of the live stream, we are seeing that 78.6 percentile move, which is a previous overhaul resistance that we've seen before, kind of coming into play. So it's around the $350 level. And is kind of seeing that pattern to kind of stall here. That doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down and just and everyone needs to run to the field or run off into the hills or whatever. I love the chicken from Popeyes. Oh my God, bro. I still haven't tried that chicken sandwich. Okay, now I'm getting distracted and now I'm hungry. So this is basically just kind of like, hey, pump the brakes a little bit, folks. This is definitely, again, we had that huge swing higher. Basically, from the low here, again, we're talking a move in just 5 days. Okay, 5 days, we've had nearly a 10% move to the upside. That's insane. That's a very strong move in a very short period of time. That move, the S&P 500 hasn't moved 10% in a matter of a whole trading year at times. Okay, and 10% move in 5 days. Whew, wow, insane, right? Just think about that. The market volatility that we've seen this year has been, and if you're new to trading or investing, this is you're really getting a crash course in overall investing. It's like insane. Like the market move, the volatility. You literally had still going on a global pandemic, a presidential election race, and just all the other circus shows and sideshows and crazy things that are going on in the market between China to all kinds of other various things that I can't even think of right now. It's just been insane. Oh, thank you, my friend. You're very welcome. I'm gonna do a couple more. I want to do very, very tired. JDD says, oh, you said please, so we'll do it. COBX. I don't know what this one does. Wow. What does this one do? What does this one do, JJ? This is a crazy move. This is kind of something to do with the virus or something. It had a huge move higher due to the virus, and this must be something kind of triggered to like a vaccine or something. Because yeah, this is definitely insane moves, and it had that huge downtick move, and now it's just kind of holding steady here, potentially waiting for the next move higher or lower. But yeah, this is not really too much to add here. Of course, if it has some kind of announcement on a vaccine or something, this definitely could be looking for that 20 plus range. But again, if nothing happens, looks like it has a questionable earnings coming up, it can go substantially down. Amanda, I was watching a video on leadership and ethics class, and I landed on this one. You're welcome. I think I have great leadership skills, and I have probably the topmost ethics in a lot of things. Oh, it's for testing. Okay, that's smart. Yeah, this thing that's a rocket ship. But the thing is like you can see that it has like no volume, and then it has that spike up higher. So this one is going to be a little bit too much of a lack of a better words, a crazy train. Thanks Ozzy Osbourne for that fantastic song. This has just been very large moves, and these swings are a little bit of again news heavy, and that's usually not my cup of tea because again you're just kind of sitting on your hands, twiddling your fingers and just kind of waiting for something to blow up. So not really my go-to cup of tea or coffee as well. JG, JJ, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sam Gold says MED. Is that the ticker symbol? MED? Medfast. Okay. Not familiar with this one as well. This one looks interesting. Wow. Okay, let me look through this. Looks like it's kind of been kind of a rebounding here. I kind of like the chart, honestly, because it's had this really strong move here off the 144, and you kind of see that strong bounce with the 5 and 8 crossing over it. With this really strong move, because again, it had that huge move higher from the low here, seeing that 21 EMA just continue to hold, kind of hit chop again with the overall market, the elections, whatever, kind of got some little bit of sideways action here. Now we're kind of seeing it kind of come back into play. It's the MJ stock. Okay, that's a huge. Okay, I'm not again. I am not well versed at all in the overall marijuana, MJ weed, pot stocks at all. I just know that back in the day, I shorted the Hello Kitty out of Tilray at basically at 250, and that made me a very happy man on that one. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. What do you think about Redfin? I love the company, and they have a small dip after earnings. Yeah, Redfin is definitely. It's kind of like in a weird sense of like Zillow and Redfin are kind of like in a weird like sideways kind of action going forth. Something to kind of be watching for. So with the old Redfin here, it had earnings, but again, it's a little bit not drastically down. This is definitely something to kind of watch out for. If it can stay above that 46.75 range, which is kind of like in the between here again. This is going to be just fine. I don't know. Again, I didn't read the earnings report. I didn't really look into it. I just look at the charts really. Oh, it's federally legislated. Yeah, with Redfin, kind of just a little bit of so it's kind of like Redfin is not like the market leader. It's a great app. I've used it before. I love looking at other people's houses. I look at my house all the time and see what the value they give it. Like I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. So if you go to someone's house or they tell you their address, you're the first person to kind of look it up on Zillow or Redfin, like and see how much they paid for it because I'm that kind of dude. So Zillow is just the ticker symbol Z. Of course, this one has been a market leader, and really, it's really the Tesla or the overall like the head honcho or the leadership of everything. Um, and really seeing that really break out. Again, we're seeing it break well above the previous high at 212, 213, and the next target if this trend can continue, because again, that's going to be a well over a 2 deviation move. So we can see on what the market thought for this week. They're thinking of $10. So that would have put, it's kind of in range here. So it's not that much out of range here because again, with earnings. So that's hitting the top threshold of what the market makers thought is going to be happening this week. And we're really kind of potentially could be breaking out of that. So we're going to be breaking out of that just slightly because it's trading around 114 to nearly 115. So that could be enough momentum and kind of a swift to kind of really kick it higher to around 120. So be very mindful of that. Roland one says long-term SA. What's SAIC? I'm not sure what this does. This thing looks really choppy. Like it looks really choppy. Like look over this over the last period of the last 3 years. It hasn't really done much. It's just kind of been really just kind of trading between the range between 78. Yes, I know it's gone down to the extremes, but really just like 75 to like 87 hasn't really done much. It does pay a dividend. It looks like it potentially wants to break out here on the weekly side, but a lot of overhead resistance around that 87 to around $90 level to the upside. But yeah, definitely be very careful on this one because again, not really the world's greatest upside here. Thoughts on SPX futures right now and thoughts for tomorrow? Again, anything can happen. I think whatever happens tonight or tomorrow, we're looking for that 350 level to kind of hold and kind of potentially see on how it trades to the upside. But I think that 350, 3,500 level for SPY or the futures could be a potential kind of a holding pattern and just kind of seeing how things play out. All right, folks, just a couple more and then we'll go look at, then I have to sign off. Chris, can we look at JD and SE? I'll look at that. Joel, thank you for becoming a live stream member. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. JD, of course, had a fantastic move. Okay, I didn't see that coming. You see that I have some initial moves here. It looks like it broke above that. So let's do this fib here. Yeah. Oh, click. Clicky click. There we go. So the next target is basically $95 to the upside for the old JD with this large move higher. So again, really large move higher, potentially downside support coming around $83. And then SE, another fantastic move from them as well. This is definitely something that has been moving up well, kind of similar to what we just looked at JD with their next target around 191. And then John says, what are your thoughts on silver? So yeah, I'm more of a gold bug, but silver kind of can trade in the same kind of pairs. With this one, we're seeing that movement kind of really break out today and seeing that really kind of strong momentum come through, aka the gold miners juniors did very well on earnings and just really seeing this move really kind of continue. So we're seeing that potentially to go higher here. Let me get rid of these fibs here. So swing high to swing low. That 50% retracement is around 23.92. Silver is going to be, it's not going to be indirectly traded like gold. Gold's kind of like the head honcho. It's the godfather of the precious metals, and silver is kind of the it's like the cousin Vinny kind of the mob boss, and just not really going to be with the overall group, but kind of if the tide goes up, this guy will kind of follow suit. But so this one is potentially next overhead resistance can be around 23.92 with the very strong target around 24.74 to the upside there, my friend. And AY Texas, what are your thoughts on the market tomorrow? Tomorrow, I think we're going to see chop. I think we might be taking a break with this large move that we've seen higher. Again, we have moved up just in the S&P 500 in the last 5 days, nearly 10%. I think it'd be time to kind of take a break. All the, doing air quotes, the talking heads on TV are saying potentially to have a potential answers on who the president's can continue going to be, or the new president's going to be coming in. We don't know yet. So I think that could be maybe not creating too much of a whirlwind, but maybe just kind of folks just taking a break. But that being said, anything can happen in the market. If the S&P 500 wants to come down a little bit, it can come down and the trend can still hold. It can come all the way down to around that 340 or 339, and that trend would be just fine because of that moving averages we're seeing kind of cross here. Because again, we're seeing that 5 and 8 kind of cross to the 21 EMA, being on the very short dated side. Anything can happen, and this very strong bull bounce that we're seeing here can definitely kind of hold us up for as well. Christopher, thank you for also becoming another live stream member. Guys, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. John says, I think it's going to crash again if a power struggle in the social media erupts. I don't know. That's going to be hard to speculate. I don't try to predict the future. If it comes in those levels, I'll make the call or kind of figure out what goes on from there. Again, I don't think it's going to be very difficult to see on how things play out. Guys, on that note, I've been streaming for about 93 minutes, which is a little bit what I normally do. If you guys enjoy this, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I love to do these live streams throughout the week, and of course, the traditional ones on Sundays. I really do appreciate everyone coming out and joining and having a fantastic time. I hope you learned something. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're interested, check out the links in the description below. We have the Discord, we have the Patreon page, and we have that awesome affiliate link with Tastyworks if you're interested on trading stock and options with them. And I think they have a fantastic thing going on. If you switch your account with over 2K, they give you 100 shares of a stock or 10 contracts. So hopefully, guys, thank you so very much. And again, stay safe. Godspeed. Peace.